Legal experts have strongly condemned the arrest of a lawyer on charges of insulting a public official, saying that the verdict has no legal basis but rather constitutes an act of intimidation against critics of the government. Umut Kılıç, an attorney from Afyonkarahisar province, was placed in custody after describing President Recep Tayyip Erdoğan as a fascist. Kılıç was speaking during an interview to become a judge and had successfully passed a relevant exam. During his second interview at the Ministry of Justice, Kılıç believed that the committee members conducting the interview were biased against him. "You won't hire me anyway," he said. "You're all men of fascist Erdoğan." The committee members immediately filed a complaint and police detained the lawyer. Kılıç was referred to a prosecutor's office for insulting the president and public officials. Speaking to today's Zaman on Thursday, main opposition Republican People's Party, CHP, Konya Deputy Atilla Kart said that the arrest of Kılıç was an arbitrary decision. In the Turkish Penal Code TCK, the prerequisite conditions for the arrest of an individual are made clear. However, in the case of the lawyer Kılıç, he has not committed a crime that requires his arrest. The majority of the judiciary is subordinate to the executive and acts in accordance with its instructions. The verdict of arrest is a consequence of the authoritarian regime in Turkey, said Kart. Kart also noted that lawyers who protested in the Ankara courthouse to show solidarity with Kılıç have been facing judicial proceedings for having done so. People are even not allowed to exercise their rights. The right to assembly is among the most basic human rights. The government will escalate tension on the pretext of protecting public order and security ahead of the general election on June 7. We opposition parties and civil organizations nevertheless will continue to seek our rights, said Kart. The heads of bar associations in Ankara, Afyonkarahisar, Aydın, and some 200 lawyers gathered in front of the Ankara courthouse on Wednesday to protest the arrest of Kılıç at the Ankara courthouse. The crowd chanted the slogans "Shoulder to shoulder against fascism," "Dictator," "Keep your hands off the judiciary," and "The lawyer Umut Kılıç is not alone." Speaking on behalf of the lawyers and bar officials, Ankara Bar Association head Hakan Kanduran said that those who had ruled for the arrest of Kılıç had committed a crime. The head of Afyonkarahisar Bar Association, Turgay Sahin, maintained that arrest of a person for insulting public officials stands in contrast to rulings by the European Court of Human Rights, ECHR. The chairman of the Law and Life Foundation, Mehmet Kazip, told reporters that the arrest of Kılıç is an indication of the current political climate in Turkey. He went on to say that the penal courts of peace, where Kılıç stood trial, are instruments the government uses to silence dissenters. In Turkey, a coup has been staged against the rule of law and martial law has been put into practice. 5 penal judges of peace were dismissed from their cases and replaced by judges who were prepared to arrest people over insults. These courts, which did not give arrest rulings when an opposition leader was punched, somehow arrest a lawyer who only voiced criticism, said Kazip. The penal courts of peace were introduced by the government after the revelation of a corruption scandal in 2013 which implicated 4 former ministers and pro-government businessmen. In order to cover up the corruption claims, President Recep Tayyip Erdoğan accused the Gülen movement, also known as Hizmet movement, whose supporters are inspired by the teachings of Turkish Islamic scholar Fethullah Gülen, of conspiring against the government by introducing graft investigations. The penal courts were introduced by the government in July of last year to pursue legal claims against the parallel structure, a term invented by Erdoğan to refer to the Gülen movement. The penal judges of peace, who are sometimes called super judges, were authorized to decide on all matters related to subjects such as issuing search warrants and taking someone into custody, as well as overturning the decisions of other judges on these matters.